Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's Mike here at Game From Scratch, and today we are talking about the machinery from Our Machinery. I'm going to screw that up. I'm going to interchange those two names throughout this video because I find it very confusing. But there is a company called Our Machinery that make a game engine called The Machinery. If you're a regular to this channel, you probably already know about it. I've covered them a few times in the past. If you are not, hit like and subscribe and all that stuff. Stay up to date and the latest and greatest in the world of game development, such as when a game engine like The Machinery is released. And that's what we're talking about today. It is now available, and this is like a 2021 release. So what that means is we went from beta to early access. What that really means is you can now start paying for it. So we're going to see some of the pricing details of this game engine, but first we're going to talk about the engine itself. So you can see they've got a bit of a trailer going on in the background. I'll leave that playing while I talk, but this one has some pedigree. There was a studio in Stockholm called Grin. Developers from Grin, some of the people that worked on the game engine there, formed their own company called Fat Shark, where they made a game engine called BitSquid. BitSquid was in turn bought by Autodesk, the makers of 3D Studios Max and Maya and other various 3D graphics programs, and they renamed it to Stingray. And then they killed it, which is unfortunate because it was a very interesting, lightweight, data-driven game engine. And what they've done with Our Machinery, The Machinery, is they've taken that to the next step. This is a framework in the most classical sense, in that it is the framework for you to make your own game engine. They provide things such as creation graphs, a plugin-based architecture, a collaborative online editing environment, the back-end data kind of interchange formats, a renderer. But the idea is that you basically create your own game engine using simple C plugins. Every aspect of this engine is implemented as a plugin. So if you want to create or expand upon your own game engine, you use this plugin architecture. So that's the kind of the interesting thing. So they provide a data model. They provide this creation graph visual working system for the render. You can have live collaboration. So if you change one thing, a different person is logged in, they change it, you can see their changes live. So you can have multiple people working on it at the same time. Here you can see the editor in action. It is very sparse. The entire idea behind this is that you add to it as you need it. This is, again, kind of like a plug-and-play framework for making your own game engine out of it. And you can start creating all of these various different features and plugins and new tools and such, all using simple, so everything you see here, all of these menu options, these are being implemented as simple C plugins. So if you want to extend this, you can do so using simple C plugins. And otherwise, everything is a pretty simple component-based, data-oriented architecture. Everything is quite streamlined and straightforward. Now, one thing I really think they need to do is have a game-winning demo. You need to have a nice, beautiful graphics kind of demonstration of what your engine is all about. And they have a number of samples available that you can go ahead and download. The problem is none of them are really that impressive to look at. So, we've got a physics demo here that we'll go ahead and load this one in. Here you can see it. It's basically like Arkanoids, a demonstration here. None of their demos are really that beautiful. That's one of those things I recommend for them. Make something that looks good, shows off your render, shows off your capabilities, instead of just showing off what features are available. But those are all available for download as well. So that there is the Machinery. It's a unique game engine in that, again, it is a host for you to create your own game engine using kind of as simple of an architecture as possible. So if you're looking at making your own engine, but you don't want to start from scratch, this is probably the ideal environment for you. It's designed to be lightweight, it is designed to be hackable, and it's designed to be modern. So that is the key behind it. Again, it's a key. The idea here is it's a building box of tools for you to create your own game engine. So if you're the person who wants to have as much low-level control as possible, that's kind of the idea behind this engine. And again, this team has pedigree. Their previous engines have been used to make games such as the Magicka series, Warhammer Vermintide, etc. So these guys have definite pedigree there. Also, Avalanche Studio is signed up to use Our Machinery going forward. They make... what did they make? Is it the Heist games? I forget. Just Cause games. That's Avalanche Studios making those ones. So you see here, collaborative editing, easy to build your own tools, modern rendering architecture with backends like Vulkan DX12 and Metal 2, high performance, it's simple. And then APIs are exposed to C interface, means you can call them from C, C++, D, whatever language has a function calling interface that's compatible. And you can use this to make whatever kind of thing you want out of it. So one of the interesting things here, obviously, is we now have the early adopter program. So we're no longer a beta. We are now early access. That's how releases work in 2021. Don't ask me. I don't know these things anymore. So this was announced yesterday. We've got a lot of beautiful people have been asking us for some time, how much is the machinery going to cost? We've been silent about it, not because we wanted to withhold information for some crazy fancy launch. We just didn't know ourselves. A ton of research, got feedback, and so on. So now we have 3 pricing tiers. We have the Indie Free, which allows you to basically have access to everything in the machinery except for the source code. Indie Pro, exact same thing, but includes the full source code of the engine and all associated tools. So free version is, well, free. Pro is $100 per user per year, and then Business is aimed for professional users, includes the same stuff as the Indie Pro version, except your support tickets will be prioritized, so basically you're getting better support, and that was $900 per user per year. Now, Indie means you make less than 100K a year. So if you make more than 100K a year, you are pushed into the business licensing here. So pretty straightforward pricing on the whole. So in addition, already fair prices, we also wanted to offer a big discount to anyone who wants to join this journey with us early. So there's where the early access part comes in and support us from the start. So until the end of 2021, we're running an early adopter program with all licenses at 50% off. So if you buy before the end of 2021, you'll keep this discounted subscription for the next 5 years. That's pretty generous. We know switching or even trying out a new engine is a major undertaking, and we will be there to help you succeed every step of the way. So again, here is the new new pricing. If you make less than 100K a year, it's free. If you make less than 100K a year, it's less free. But this one, you're getting access to the full source code here. Then we've got the business tier here. So this is companies that make over 100K a year. You're looking at $900, currently, again, half price. So we go free, currently 50, normally 100. 450, normally 900. Now again, this is per user, so if you're a team of, say, 10 users, I'm going to use my math skills here. That means $4,500 here for your business licensing there, or regularly $9,000, which is still, compare it to the likes of Unity or Unreal. If you make more than $1 million, that is a gigantic deal. If you start getting into that whole, you have to pay for Unreal thing, it gets a little iffy. And then we've got the enterprise licensing. That is if you have something special and you contact them. So the big tier differences here are the Indie Free, so you don't have source code access and you have revenue limitations. The big difference between Indie Free and Indie Pro, so that $50 per year, is you get access to the source code, which, you know what, for a game engine like this that's all about being lightweight and modifiable and customizable and so on, I can see wanting source code access to be a pretty big deal. But you can extend this guy without the source code, by the way. They've got all the tooling built in. You just basically create your own little modules in C, and you can extend the engine that way. So you may not actually need the source code. You may be perfectly fine for the Indie Free. And then we get into the business level. That is where you have over 100K a year, or you need prioritized support. And then here, if you need bespoke support, that means they fondle the... Okay, I won't finish that sentence. But anyways, that is kind of a... You need something special from them, you pay something special to them. Whole idea behind it. All the licenses allow for royalty-free use of the machinery. You can build games using the machinery and sell them. You can create tools and applications and sell them. You can build plugins and extensions for the machinery and sell them. You can make tutorials, blog post videos about the machinery and sell them. The only thing you can't sell is the machinery itself or the reskin of the machinery. So basically, you can't sell the machinery as a game engine. You can sell it as a tool. So for example, if you look at like the Godot ecosystem, there are a number of tools such as Material Maker that were built on top of the Godot, or you've even got other game engines built on top of Godot, such as RPG in a Box. Well, you could create those in our machinery and sell them. But what you couldn't do is just create our machinery 2, which was like a derived version of our machinery with some improvements you did, and sell that. So that's kind of the difference there. So if you're interested, that is that. I will have all the relevant links in the comments down below. They also have a press release announcement. It mostly covers everything we just talked about. So there's not really much reason to going in here. A couple interesting things here is, again, they've got founding from game developers, including Arrowhead Studios, Fat Sharks founders, and then Avalanche Studios. And then we see down here, Avalanche Studios says, we invested in the machinery personally because we feel strongly about its capabilities and performance. We will be opening a new game studio later this year, and the machinery will be our engine of choice to develop and create the games we are envisioning. The team at Our Machinery has a clear vision of their own and of their own and goals that align with our values. We see a partnership lasting for many years to come. We worked with the team at Our Machinery previously and trust their ability to build efficient tech, and this is from Arrowhead Games. These are the guys that made Magicka, Gauntlet, Helldivers, and all three of those were made with either a combination of BitSquid or Stingray Engine, which is what BitSquid was renamed as. So they're kind of hooking themselves up to Our Machinery going forward as well. So yeah, that's it. Our Machinery, The Machinery by Our Machinery is now available for purchase. The pricing details are out there. I would be curious to see what you think of those particular pricing details. Again, you can come over here and check that out. Everything is available, by the way, at ourmachinery.com. I will have links down below if you're interested. But this tier, so $100,000 or less income, free, like that. You want source code access, $50 per user per year. Seems fair to me. Again, revenue limited. And then if you don't have those revenues, if you're making more than $100,000 a year, $450 per user, also getting source code access. And yeah, that's it. What do you think of the pricing, of the engine, of the idea? I do like the fact that The Machinery is kind of in a unique space. It is a battle-tested game engine building block, and that's a neat idea. There's not a lot of engines out there about building engines. So if you're looking for someone to have done a lot of the heavy lifting for you, but you want to really put your own stamp onto what you're working with, you're basically stuck with something like this. This is pretty much unique in that regard. Or you're going to want to use something like an open source engine, something like, again, the Godot game engine would be a good fit. But again, the Godot game engine, you're inheriting a lot of Godovian ways of doing things, whereas this is designed for you to sort of do things however you want. So it's an interesting approach. It's an interesting engine, and I will be really interested to see how well they do with this pricing model, but I would love to hear what your opinion is. Comments down below. Talk to you all later. Goodbye.